Let me play this clip from Ben for you guys. This is actually pretty good, and he's a funny guy. Let's load it up. Make sure we can get the audio going.
We're citizens.
That's not possible.
But that's fake news, I think. Name one citizen that's been deported. Besides Ellen DeGeneres. She did a self-deported. No, but I'm curious, who's been deported?
The guy from Maryland.
Right. That's what everybody says. He's just a Maryland man. He's just a Maryland man. What was his name? Rodrigo Gonzalez. He's guilty. If your name's not Jeff, you're going. But he wasn't a citizen. He was a green card holder.
Not even a green card holder.
He got arrested like 4 times.
That's insane.
I think his wife had a protection order against him.
But he's
Wow.
a citizen. He's not.
Lefty
See,
gypsy.
this is why one day when you're like 45 and single after 3 abortions, you look back on this night while living in your bachelor apartment that you can barely afford on government welfare today. And you're gonna go, fuck, I was wrong.
Okay, that dude's very funny, and that was good.
That was good.
I don't blame a comedian for not knowing anything about Kilmar or Abrego Garcia. No. But the point, the reason I bring this up is how the audience, this woman was willing to yell at a comedian at a comedy show. First of all, why heckle?
Yeah.
But she was so sure of herself that she said he was a citizen who got deported, and they were petty offenses, petty charges. This guy was suspected of smuggling humans, and the feds told the cops to let him go.
Multiple times.
He had beaten his wife on more than one occasion, according to her own accusations. And he was from El Salvador, not a citizen, and he had an order of deportation, but he had a protection order to not be deported to that place, and he's still pending deportation now, I think, to like Uganda.
Yeah. His home country doesn't want him back.
Well,
Don't blame him.
I think the argument they're making is he can't go back because of the fear of death or whatever. So the argument from the Trump admin is like, well, then we can send him literally anywhere else.
But he can't stay here.
And this is really funny. The latest update is that apparently his lawyer submitted a fear of death from like just a whole bunch of random countries. So they looked at it and they went, Uganda, I guess.
Yeah, that's what
Because they were like, bro, if that's a game you want to play, we'll keep playing.
Oh.
Yeah, look, I don't care if their home country won't take them. I don't care where they send them. Just send them away. I mean, the home country of these people, they have the responsibility to allow them in. If they've been sent out of their country because they're criminals, that doesn't mean it's our responsibility to take them and to let them stay here. And if there is a place where, a third country that's like, man, we don't give a crap, and we can send them there, send them there.
Take one off.
I don't care if it's Uganda or somewhere in Africa or somewhere else in South America. Or look, I'm still pro Gitmo. Send them to Gitmo.
Here's the thing, like this, having immigration happen like this, where there's no checks and balances, it causes real harm. Chicago recently had a measles outbreak. They had a measles outbreak at the immigration facilities where these people were living. So, as you know, a lot of Venezuelans were coming to Chicago, and during the time that they were coming from Venezuela, they were actually having a measles outbreak in Venezuela. So here's the thing. A lot of these people will get so mad at a person who's like, hey, I don't want to get all the vaccines. But then they'll be like, hey, let people come in here with no checks and balances, no health checks, and bring in diseases that have kind of been eradicated in our country. We're okay with that, but let a mom down in Texas say, oh, I don't want to vaccinate my kids, and now that woman is a terrorist and her kids should be taken.
Yeah, it's
But a lady on the street can have her kids strapped to her back all day, not going to school, and they're spreading measles at facilities, and that's okay. So I think that right now, Americans in general are really fatigued with the lack of just reality that these people are in touch with, because it can't be okay for a person to come from a whole other country with diseases that have been eradicated in America, but let a mom, like I said, in Texas or in Illinois say she doesn't want vaccines, and it's like, this person is evil, but the other one is not, and it's not problematic, and should stay, and should not be forced to vaccinate, and can go to school, can go to public schools where teachers can't speak to the kid, and the kid can't spek to the teacher, because they are actually in CPS schools.
I heard there was
Look, I got a question, because I haven't been back in Chicago for any meaningful amount of time. The holidays, right?
Yeah.
But there was this story I saw where they wanted to build an immigration camp
Yes.
in a park, and then it was actually in the black community where they revolted, being like, "Don't you dare do this." What happened with that?
So one of them was actually in a hotel. You may be talking about the one that was in a hotel. I'm not sure. It could be.
They were like trying to build something in a park or something.
They were investing all over black communities and just taking over things, like I said, abandoned hotels. And they were paying like hundreds of thousands of dollars for these hotels to be converted into migrant shelters. So what you would have is that the police would have to patrol much more often around the migrant shelters. You had the fire department coming out nonstop because they would have like 7 people in a room in these shelters. And the city was paying tons of money for hotels to be converted for these people. And it was causing a big uptick in crime. So the people actually pushed back in one Hyde Park community. Chicago Flips Red was a big part of it. And it really helped for those people to actually get that shelter shut down because they were about to really transform it permanently and make it a part of the community where people have black Chicagoans. And here's the thing, black Chicagoans have held down the Democratic Party. But they even had to say, hey, what's going on? Because these are diehard Hyde Park residents who've invested. And you're telling them that now they're going to be living down the street from a migrant shelter where I think the occupancy was supposed to be like 400 people for a hotel, but they were going to like 3 or 4 exit for migrants to be in there. And it's like, it's just not safe. Like a lot of times if you come to Chicago, it's interesting. So you'll like order DoorDash and it says it's going to be a lady named Susan dropping off your food. And then a guy who's clearly of like, either Venezuelan or El Salvadorian rolls up on his Vespa. And it's like, I don't even go to the door anymore for my DoorDash because I'm like, it's usually a man on a woman's account.
Yeah, we dealt with this. We talked about it too. A car will pull up and it'll say like Mike S for your driver. And then it'll be like some Hispanic guy or whatever.
Yes.
And he'll go, he's my brother.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, whoa. And so now we have a policy of like, everyone's got to give IDs.
Yeah.
So vehicle pulls up and it'll say like Sarah and it's a guy.
That's smart.
And we're like, turn around. And
Yeah.
they're like, what? And it's like, DoorDash has a serious problem
They
with
gotta do better.
this.
It's not safe.
For us, in terms of we have very serious security issues. So when strangers pull up saying, "Here's the food, please eat it," we're like, "Nah,
That's actually smart.
not going to eat that food from a strange person who's not listed properly."
I didn't even think about that because my assumption is that I think that in Chicago right now what's happening is that they are basically using DoorDash and all these little gig economies to just run it's their new form of economy for these people that they've trafficked to the city, and they have them on these accounts and they're just setting up accounts, and that has to be how they're doing it. But the issue right now, like I said, Chicago has been destabilized. That's why you see Mayor Johnson actually just called for I think CPD to cut their budget by $100 million. Do you know what Mayor Johnson has been Yeah.
How is his approval rating not like negative?
Oh, because he's backed by the CTU, which is the entire every teacher in Chicago is under the thumb of Stacey Davis Gates, and he's a product of CPS. He was a teacher. He was a social studies teacher, and he got to play with the city now. But he wants CPD to cut their budget because he overspent on his migrant population, who's supposed to elect him again.
Did you look at the election data by neighborhood when he got elected?
I've looked at some of it, but I know that when I look at the overall turnout, the turnout was actually really low for the race in general. Like you would think that it would be like 500 to 600,000 people who came out and voted. It wasn't.
Well, but like
it was really
so
low.
I took the election map showing which neighborhood voted for which candidate, and then I took the neighborhood breakdown by race.
Okay.
And they overlap.
Wow.
So in the Hispanic areas, they all voted for the Hispanic guy. In the white areas, they voted for the white guy. In the black neighborhoods, So in the black neighborhoods, all the top 3 candidates were all the black candidates, even if they weren't even the top polling in the city.
Yeah.
Brandon Johnson was able to win because one neighborhood deviated. It's a white neighborhood that did not vote for the white candidate.
Wow.
Loyola.
Oh.
Voted for Brandon Johnson, put him over the edge, and that's how you ended up getting a
Isn't he from out closer to that area?
Maybe.
I think so.
It was a bunch of the presumption was socialist university kids voted for the socialist.
They did.
And now
Here's
the
funny
city
thing.
is just worse off.
I actually know I know quite a few older Chicagoans who voted for Paul Vallis because that was what they resonated with. A lot of older black Chicagoans are more conservative in their mindset. They just hate the idea of a Republican.
Yep.
So they voted for Paul Vallis, but what really failed during that election was that runoff. People didn't come back out.
Oh, yeah.
Turnout is such a big issue in Chicago. And if for any conservative candidates or Republican candidates, you got to be willing to bus people to the polls like Democrats do. They bus the voters in. They bus them in, and then they mail them those ballots, and they win the race before the race even starts.
You know what's crazy, though? My neighborhood voted for Trump.
Yeah.
A Chicago neighborhood voted for Donald Trump.
It's becoming more popular.
Yep. Yeah, my neighborhood's a lot of like firefighters and cops. And so these people of all different racial backgrounds are just like, nah.
Well, because they're living. I mean, if you go like on the South Side neighborhoods, like that are still standing strong, like the Mountain Greenwoods, Evergreen Parks, Oak Lawn, Beverly. A lot of these places they're holding on by a thread. And it really just comes down to the fact, like you said, a lot of them are first responders.
Yep.
They're actually investing in their communities. Their kids go to the schools in the communities, and they're doing everything that they can to hold on. But they're fighting against like a force of dysfunction. And it's like, you have to get Chicago under control. You have to get it under control because it's even spilling out into like Orland. It's spilling out into Orland. The theft is going in every direction.
My buddy was telling me, so a couple of my buddies still lived in the area for a while. I left a while ago. And the policy that Chicago's had in these high crime gang neighborhoods, largely black, has been to just bulldoze them. Like LeClaire Courts is a really great example.
Yeah.
They said, we're going to rebuild this for you, so we're temporarily relocating you. Never did.
Nope, they just left them in the suburbs.
Exactly. And Andy, who works here, he's like, all the gangs just moved into other areas, and the crime just got worse.
Yep.
They grew and expanded. The city has not dealt with any of these problems. And then it's funny because Trump says, let me tell you, apparently, one of the last things, I think Trump said the last thing Charlie Kirk asked him was, Mr. President, please save Chicago. Because Charlie's from Arlington Heights.
Yep.
And Trump's talking about sending in the National Guard or the feds. And these politicians like Pritzker, look, fine, I don't live there anymore. There's a reason why I left.
I know.
But he's like, you can't come in here. We won't let you. And I'm like,
Safe. He's walking on the lakefront. Have you seen his lakefront videos? He's like, I'm on the south side of the lake.
oh,
Get it?
yeah.
I'm on the south side of the lake. It's so safe at 6 a.m. I'm like, well, they just went to sleep for the night. The criminals do go to sleep during the day. They sleep during the day and they do their crime at night.
Well, the other thing, too, is they go to wealthy areas. They don't rob their own neighborhoods.
Oh, there is no money in their own neighborhood.
Exactly.
They go steal a charger from somebody in the hood, and then they go race downtown. Literally at night, if we ever on the highway at like 8 o'clock, we make sure we stay out of the left lane because there's chargers zooming towards downtown.
Jeez.
Like they're on their way.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.